If you are under the age of 16, I would ask that you discontinue watching this video. Now where have I heard that before? Now, in April of 2007, Brendan Dassey was found guilty of murder, sexual assault and mutilation of a corpse, along with his uncle Stephen Avery, who was also found guilty of the murder of Teresa Holbach and possession of a firearm. He was sentenced to life in prison. Now, somewhat bizarrely, unlike his uncle, who is not eligible for parole, Brendan, who was, as I say, found guilty of murder, sexual assault and of cremating Teresa's remains, is eligible for parole in 30 years' time. That'll be 2048, when he'll be nearly 60 years old. Now, of course, Stephen Avery was originally charged with kidnapping, sexual assault and mutilation of a corpse, but of course the kidnapping and sexual assault charges were dropped before the trial. Brendan, however, had confessed to a long list of offences, including raping Teresa for 5 minutes and without ejaculating. Now, we've seen a picture comparing Jean Couchet with Ron Jeremy. I wonder if they've got the wrong comparison there. Sperm is an anagram of Prems. Anyway, he also cut Teresa's throat, but he knew exactly how deeply he could cut her throat without killing her. He also strangled her, punched her in the face, cut off some of her hair with a knife that, similar to the talented Harry Potter, he was able to magically summon from the garage. He also stabbed her and then shot her 11 times. Now, in January 2010, Brendan's motion for a retrial was denied, bizarrely by Judge Fox, who had been his original judge. In December 2013, the Wisconsin Court of Appeals affirmed Judge Fox's decision, and in January of 2013, the Wisconsin Supreme Court even simply refused to review it. Finally, in August 2016, federal judge Duffin threw out Brendan's confession due to it having been coerced from him by Lieutenant Mark Wiegert of the Calumet Sheriff's Department and Thomas Fassbender, an investigator with the Wisconsin Department of Justice. That does sound very odd, doesn't it? Wisconsin and justice in the same sentence. Anyway, in June 2017, the US Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit confirmed Judge Duffin's decision, but in December 2017, following a full en-banc review, the two previous decisions in favour of Brendan were overturned. Thankfully, yesterday, Mr. Stephen Drizzen announced that Brendan was the richest man in town for the day, when no less than 6 amicus briefs were presented to the Supreme Court of the United States, asking it to reconsider Brendan's case. Now, one question that I have constantly asked is, at what point in the investigation did Mark and Tom realise that they were simply barking up the wrong tree? Yesterday, in one of those briefs, I finally read a semblance of an answer to that question. Now, unlike Eric Jose, I immediately looked at the brief presented by the independent law enforcement instructors. Incidentally, I didn't care too much for the comment of one of them that millions of Americans had watched Brendan's confession in Making a Murderer. Obviously, prosecutors do not study geography or ever have need to travel out with America, and the rest of the world doesn't exist. However, getting back to the law enforcement instructors, during the part of Brendan's interview that deals with cutting Teresa's hair, Brendan states, "I don't know. I was just guessing." And as the law enforcement instructors point out, at that point, Mark and Tom, you should have realised that Brendan didn't know the answers to your questions. I imagine now that you wish you had simply stopped the interview there and then and sent Brendan away to hand in that school project. Bye for now.